that later. We want to talk about basically the situation in the Ukraine. As you know, we've discussed this a lot on this show. And as the war rages in the Ukraine, we've followed how animals have been caught up in the crossfire from a Poland-based charity, the Kantora's Foundation. Well, since then, many more organisations around the world have turned their hand to help pick up the pieces caused by the fighting. The UK-based charity Viva is one of them, and their Poland manager is Cezary Winicki, who joins us now to tell us exactly what they are doing. So we are going to talk to, is it Juliet, about this. Hello, Juliet.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. So, Viva then, as I said in my introduction, we've been contacted by and liaising with Kantoras, who I think they've opened shelters over there, and I think they've stopped now. They're keeping the shelters going, but they're not actually transporting dogs from the Ukraine into Poland. Tell us exactly what you're doing at the moment.
Well, I set up Viva Poland back in 2001. The UK came first. And so suddenly Viva Poland was thrown into this situation where all work was put to one side and we had to decide what to do, because obviously refugees were coming over in vast quantities and a lot of them had pets with them. And of course we knew animals were going to be abandoned for one reason or another. So we sort of have done multiple things really. In Warsaw itself, there are various refugee points, and we have people on a rota at places like the main train stations in the refugee points, and we've converted part of our office into a refugee place where people with pets can go, so they can get free veterinary care. They can get, animal feed. They can get things like leads and flea collars and pet carriers, including air transport pet carriers, which are obviously very high quality. So it's basically, it's kind of little things, but those little things really matter to somebody. I was there very recently, and you're in the train station at a stall watching these refugees come over with just literally a little case and free holding their cat or their dog, because that's all that they could get out at that point in time. And some of them, like two women I met in their early 20s, for example, had been carrying this little Yorkshire Terrier for 15 days in their backpack, and they just had one little case and their doggy. And another little girl I met, 10-year-old Dory, she was with her grandma. It was quite hard to understand their total circumstances, but again, they'd been travelling a long time. She was clearly very tired, and they had hardly any luggage, but the little girl was holding on to her little dog, and you could see this little dog was everything to her.
Yes.
And so, we're just helping in any way that we can. I mean, the Viva UK has fundraised from the British public, because we've got a sanctuary over there near Warsaw.
Oh, have you?
We already had a sanctuary, so we already had almost 400 animals there, so we've taken over another 150 from Ukraine, and what we're trying to do is home them to Polish people if they are ready to be homed, to bring in more animals. But the situation, as I'm sure you're aware, is it's becoming
chaotic.
Much more difficult to get animals across, actually.
Yeah.
It was easier a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that's what the Kantoras told us, that I think that's why they've stopped now. They're running their sanctuaries, but they're not bringing them across. That's so interesting that you had already a sanctuary in Warsaw. And as you said, if the dogs are prepared to be rehomed, what is the uptake on Polish people rehoming dogs? And also, the dogs must be somewhat traumatized, aren't they?
It depends so very much. I mean, the uptake is good. Half of the animals that have come from the Ukraine have now been rehomed. And Poland, like a lot of other European countries, people are very, very attached to their pets. So the people have been very responsive and very, very good indeed. But we won't rehome animals that aren't ready. So I'll just give you one example. We've just taken 14 dogs, which were very hard to get from the Ukraine to Poland. They had to go through another country. I can't speak too much about that. But anyway, they were very large dogs, and they had been street dogs and been in a place where they were being fed, but that's about it. So all these dogs' experience with humans is not very good, and they'd been days and days and days in cages. So with those dogs, we're paying for a specialist animal behaviourist to try and help these dogs understand that, you know, people can be kind and life isn't all bad, you know, and you know that, I mean, what they've been through, all the bombings and then just caged. God, yeah. And so animals like that you wouldn't rehome straight away.
No, of course not.
You have to go through a whole process. But Viva Poland, the sanctuary is beautiful. It's 60 acres. I'm biased, but I think it's the best sanctuary in Poland.
Really?
It doesn't overtake animals, and you know, we're very, very strict on making sure those animals have a good life, you know, for those that unfortunately have to stay for a long time.
And I'm reading here that there's also a refugee vet from the Ukraine in that Viva Poland. Is that right?
Yes, she came. That's right. She came over really near the start of the war when things got bad in her area with her 12-year-old son. And she again, I can't really speak too much about her, but she was pretty traumatized herself, actually. But she came to the sanctuary as something to do that was, you know, positive for her in a very, very bad situation.
Anna.
Oh, I was going to say, you know, if you had anybody come forward, you know, if any of the pets have got chips, I mean, what do you think the likelihood would be that, you know,
being reunited?
The reuniting thing, or is there a slim chance?
We haven't reunited any. We've been asked various people, you know, because obviously all animals are microchipped and all animals are scanned for a microchip. And we have had people say, have you got this cat? Have you got this dog? And unfortunately, we never have had so far. A lot of the animals, we kind of know the chances of them coming from somebody that's going to reclaim them are pretty much zero. I mean, you know, like we took a dog who was an Alsatian type who was blind, actually, and we know that his owner had been killed and he was just being fed scraps from a grocery store and really stood no chance when the bombing started where he was living. But there was a Viva volunteer just happened to be there, and they actually kind of, you know, went on an all-out to get him across the border. So he's safe at the sanctuary and is being rehabilitated. And we think, actually, that a vet can operate and actually regain his eyesight. So, wow. But no, we haven't, unfortunately, had those stories of reuniting people, no.
Well, listen, I think you're doing an amazing job, and I know that you only survive from donations. You are a charity. And obviously there'll be people listening who think if we can help in any way, the best way is to go to your website. Is that right?
Yes, the website is Viva, as in VIVA, viva.org.uk, and if you just put /Ukraine, you can donate there. I mean, we have got other things going on. We've got 3 British people over at the sanctuary at the moment volunteering, so we do take volunteers as well. And yeah, we have had some amazing people actually fill vans loads of stuff and actually drive it all the way over to Warsaw.
Wow.
But not expecting people to do that. That's exceptional. But yeah, people have been amazingly kind.
Well, honestly, Juliet, congratulations for, you know, just doing what you're doing, because all we do is we sit and look at this, don't we, and just think what we can do, and you're doing something. And as Anna said, I'd love to think that eventually, well, the animals find a home, or some are reunited with the families if they can match the dogs to the families if they're chipped. And I just think you're doing the most amazing work. So thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
That's Juliet Gellatley from Viva. And if you want to find out more, and they were saying they still want volunteers, they still want donations, the website is www.viva.org, viva.org, 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 viva.org.